interviewing, I say we like I have a co-host. I am interviewing women around Chicago. So we decided to call it Chicago because we are interviewing women all across Chicago. And so I started this YouTube podcast, whatever you want to call it, series. And we are interviewing different women across the fields, creatives, corporates, whatever it may be. And the idea was that I've been to like a lot of panels, I've seen a lot of women get interviewed, and I feel like it's kind of a lot of the same questions. So instead of really getting to know who they are, like I like to ask more fun questions. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what this is like a little bit more about you, but from a fun angle. So we are here today with Laura. So Laura, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do. You can, I don't know, you do like 75 things. So, whatever you want to tell us, and I can add in bits and pieces.
Fantastic. Well, what I do, mostly my background has been in music, and I continued along that path of conducting, actually, orchestras and operas, and that's where...
And how many instruments do you play?
Oh, a lot. My first one that I started on when I was 5 was piano, and then I actually ended up playing the horn, French horn, and that's what I got my bachelor's degree in, along with biology, yes. Multi areas. So even that's music, it was a lot of stuff I couldn't decide. And then deciding like what route I was going to go, if I was going to go more biomedical or anything like that, or if I was going to go the music route, and I chose the music route. Okay. And then I went on to do my master's with conducting, actually. So it was a very unique area of it because I was introduced to it when I was in undergrad. Wow. And I was introduced by actually a female conductor, and I didn't really think about it much at the time that there really weren't many female conductors out there at a professional level, because I kind of was exposed to that early. And it has been really interesting because the field's starting to change now, but there haven't been many female conductors throughout kind of the history or
Tell
stuff.
us a little bit about your music, like some of the things maybe you've done in Chicago with the music scene, or I don't know, whatever you guys call it here. Is it the music scene? I don't know. It is. Because even though my training's been classical music, I love all types of music and everything. But what I've done mostly is either here and where and about and everything else too, because you do have to sometimes travel for it. Has been mostly with, like I said, orchestras. So I kind of grew up playing in orchestras, and so I got comfortable conducting orchestras. And then a couple years ago, I want to say I've always had an interest in opera, but kind of got more involved with it. And from a different standpoint, I got involved with the Lyric Opera of Chicago by being on their Young Professionals board. Because I wanted to meet other people who were interested in music who weren't musicians. And that really exposed me to that. And that's really, that board, and that was called LYP, has really taken off. And they do some great stuff now. I have since then rolled off the board and then kind of moved on with my own career with it. So you did conducting, you were in music. You composed music too, right?
Well, not as much with it.
Well, you have.
I have in the past, but it's not been my big forte of things.
No, but it's still cool to mention, Because I feel like for anybody watching, they're like, oh, cool, like she has done it at some point.
It's so funny. I get asked a lot with it too as well because I've done some film score things, just like one or two things of it too as well. And there's not a lot of that in Chicago. It's more in other markets. But there in the film stuff, you get it's kind of like you compose it and then you conduct it, too as well. Whereas obviously more in just classical stuff, it's just, unless it's newer things. So. And
is there anything else you do? I mean, I know, but you gotta talk a little bit about the...
Yeah. Yay. I like that you were like, this is like the runway walk.
Right, it was. More like short fingers.
On the finger walk. Yes, I do model on the side too as well. And I say side, I don't mean it that way. I mean it more so I model as well. And I kind of fell into it. I'm tall. So many years ago, when I first got into it, actually when I was 12 years old, and I modeled for a department store. And I thought about staying with it, but then, you go on to school and all these other things like this, things change. Then I remember in undergrad, everyone's like, you got really nice hands. I was like, that's a weird thing to say. That's a really weird thing to say. And I mean, it would be, and I just have long fingers.
Yeah, probably for music.
Yeah, it's great for playing piano and everything else. But yeah, it's so funny. So I did a little hand modeling right after undergrad, and then I kind of took a little break from things and fell more into it again through other stuff, and have been commercial things or
saw you on a commercial that one time on Hulu.
I love the fact that you brought it up too.
Like, wasn't that you? Because I remember I sent you a screen grab, or I paused the TV and I took a picture and I was like, is this you? And you were like, it is. And I was like,
yep.
Because Hulu doesn't have a lot of commercials, right? So I was like, oh, what are the odds that the one commercial that shows on Hulu?
Yeah, so I've done some of those, and I'm signed with currently I'm signed with Wilhelmina. So
cool.
That's been, it's kind of been a dream to be signed with a really large international agency, and that was great. They brought me on with it, and it's great because I can do this market and other ones too.
Right, and I'll be honest, nobody's intro, so we typically get into the first set of questions that I ask within the first minute or two, but you happen to be the first guest who does so many things that I can't not introduce everything, because it's interesting, right? And I think it falls into who you are as a person, and I think it's going to kind of dictate what you're going to answer as we get along.
And I joke around that, I'm sometimes in front of a camera and sometimes in front of an orchestra.
Right.
It's just, it all kind of.
You are moving to LA.
I am.
What are you doing in LA? Because I think it's really fucking cool. I'm sure you don't, but I'm so geeked for it.
It is something that I, weirdly enough, fell into my lap. Yeah. I didn't go searching this out or anything. I went in for a meeting, and then a week later they offered me a job. But I will be working for Sony Studios, Sony Pictures Entertainment, and I will be specifically with Jeopardy.
Right, that was what I was waiting for. I was like, tell me you're working for Jeopardy. Yeah. And it's really cool, right? Because since I didn't know actually that this was a job, but the contestants get coached.
They get coached, to
so that's what you're doing.
Because a lot of them come from all different types of backgrounds, and
some of them are weird.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I did not say that.
You didn't nod your head either, but I nodded for you, so it's fine.
I don't know. I haven't met anyone yet. I haven't started it yet, so we'll find out.
I've watched the show long enough to.
So, but they're not as comfortable necessarily answering the questions, because it's really tricky to it's easy to be oh, okay, you can think about these things and answer them when you're just kind of talking this way.
Yeah.
But when you got lights on you and cameras on you, and it's a time thing and all this kind of stuff with the buzzer and all, it's more nerve-wracking.
Right. I can see that.
There's a different pressure on it, so we coach them to feel comfortable that way. And
because they probably only typically they buzz once, and I would probably be there
well, and you can lock yourself out. So right. I've learned all about this.
That would be me.
And I'll learn more about this once I start things with it. But yeah, so I'll be doing some things with, and then also some travel involved to go to different places, different cities throughout the States, and be oh, Jeopardy's in town, and we kind of, I play fake games with them, basically, to kind of get them comfortable and everything, and see who works well with whom and all that kind of stuff.
So cool.
I'll find out more once I start it.
Right. So maybe we can have you back on at some point, and we can
where's the transition?
How is Jeopardy going? Could find out all the behind the scenes. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it.
Sure.
So the first thing I always talk about, and the first thing that interests me most about anybody that I meet and anybody that I'm friends with, is brunch. I'm a big brunch advocate, right? If I have to go out with friends, if I bring people to the city, I'm fuck the sights. Let's go eat. right? And if we're going to go eat, I'm like, the best thing to do is brunch. So are you a brunch fan?
Oh, I am a huge brunch fan. It's like actually my favorite of anything to eat.
Right. This is why we're
I feel it
friends,
kind of
okay.
expands, a couple, not even just a couple meals, but it's like what you feel like
All
at
day.
that moment and stuff too as well.
Like,
and it's like, do you want sweet? Do you want savory? You can go either way. You
that
can have a little both.
That leads me to my next question.
Yes.
So I typically a savory person, right? Like love a salmon omelet. Like so Griddle 24, shout out Griddle 24. It's on I actually don't know the cross streets, and every time I tell somebody the cross streets, they're literally wrong. But it's like Chicago Avenue and something. I think it's Orleans. Pretty sure it's Chicago Avenue in Orleans. Don't quote me. But that is like my spot. They have a salmon omelet and it has like salmon and cream cheese in it, and it is like the bomb. But it also comes with a side of pancakes, right? So I love like savory, but I love a little sweetness, or I love like going to a brunch spot where I can share.
Yes. Yes, I love the sharing parts of it too as well. Like I don't just want to sit there with my like really big ass meal and everything else too and be like, taste a little bit. So
what is your, if you had to pick one brunch food, what is your favorite? You could do like one savory, one sweet.
So
it's cool because I have one of each.
This is going to sound a little weird. So originally I would say like, when I was younger and stuff, more sweet, and got a little bit more savory as I got older. But I want to say about 2 years ago, I never understood. For the longest time, I never understood why people ate like chicken and waffles. I'm like, what is that? That's kind of weird, right? Tried it 2 years ago. It is now my favorite dish for brunch. I'm like, chicken and waffles.
Right.
And because it hits the savory and the sweet like all in one dish for me.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right, and then you get some biscuits on the side. I don't know. That's where I go. I'm like, let me get some biscuits too.
See, I like the potatoes.
I love potatoes too. See, recently we went to this place. My friend and like some other people that I've met, they run the group. It's called The Whale. It's in like Wicker Park area. It's owned by the same people who own the Vig. Yeah. So we went for brunch right after they opened, and they have fried lobster and waffles instead of fried chicken. And I was like,
really?
Oh, unreal.
Really?
Yes. Unreal. I was like taken aback. I was like,
okay, now I need to try that.
Right. So speaking of spots in the city, where is your favorite spot for brunch? If you're like, I'm bringing somebody in town, like, where are you going?
Oh my goodness. I knew you were going to ask me this after you mentioned it. It's really hard because
you just pick one. Maybe it's not like the only one, but it's like one of the ones. If you're like, hey, like you're coming into the city, or hey, like you haven't checked the spot out at.
Well, it's weird because I'm gonna say a place, and I have never tried their chicken and waffles, because I don't even know if they have it and stuff. I would assume they would, but actually the Batter and Berries is really good. Have you ever been there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know if they have chicken and waffles. They have a big menu though.
They have a big menu, but I don't know if they have that. I guess I'm thinking like the last chicken and waffles I had was Yoke like a couple days ago, so I know that. I used to live above Yoke on Streeterville, and I never went to it.
Oh, no kidding.
Then I like go all the time to the one up like on Diversity or something.
Batter and Berries.
So I'm trying to think what other brunch places and stuff.
It's okay.
There's so many I've wanted to try too as well. There was one place.
Now you're going to LA and you can eat brunch year round outside. So
outside.
That's
the key.
Don't even try me. We don't even need your like.
I don't know if they'll have a lot of chicken.
So one of the biggest things too when I talk about brunch is I personally like to drink at brunch. Mm-hmm. Are you a fan of drinking at brunch? Mimosas.
I am. Yes, I'm more of like the sweeter type, mimosa type of anything like that. I know some people love Bloody Marys. I can't do it.
I hate Bloody Marys.
I can't do them. I don't even understand why there's like a whole.
So what is your like champagne to orange juice ratio? Are you like more champagne, less orange juice, more orange juice, less champagne?
It depends on the day. Sometimes it's a mixture of it a little bit. Sometimes it's hold the orange juice.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes I don't know.
When I was at Fashion Week, long story short, I went to E Studio, and they had like an E Studio pop-up, right? And they were doing these like little video gifts for you, GIFs, whatever. And they had champagne, they had mimosas there, and the makeup artist was like, I like my mimosa with a sneeze of orange juice, like you, hachoo, and like that's how much orange juice I like. And like now when
a gross feeling.
But it's I feel like it's a very accurate way to describe. So now when I like go places, I'm like, I just want to sneeze, and they're like, what? And then you describe them, they're like, oh. So, all right, okay. So you like to drink. I mean, I already knew that, but you know, I gotta ask it in the order. So we're gonna run through a quick little scenario. I'm gonna name off like 4 scenarios for you, and I want you to tell me like your go-to drink for that scenario.
Okay.
So you're going out with your girls, like night on the town. What are you gonna order? To drink.
Oh my goodness, you're asking me these questions. I have to make a decision.
Yeah.
A fast decision on this. This is really tricky.
Mine is a vodka soda, 2 limes.
See,
if I'm not like, it depends, right? That's my go-to because like low cal doesn't make me feel sick.
I get that. I think it just depends on the place where it is too, because I like bourbon.
Okay. Don't overthink this though.
I know.
You're just like going out with your girls, right? Anywhere. It can be any random place in the city. What would you normally order?
If I start with something, honestly, too, as well, I'll sometimes even start with a bubbly of some sort and that kind of thing.
Love
just
it.
Really quick Prosecco or something like that, and fine.
You're going out on a date. First date. What do you order?
Date.
I'm like a depending on, so I like to pick cool places when we go on dates, like if we're going to eat. Right. So I typically like to try like a signature cocktail there.
I was gonna say like I'm one of those who actually look at the menu of what they have, and a lot of times too, even on like a first date or something like that, I'll sit there at the bar and like talk to the bartender and just be like, what do you recommend here?
Oh, I do that a lot too. I did that with food though a lot too.
Yeah, just because I mean I remember I did that one time on a first date. And, like, the guy was like, I don't know what I want kind of thing, and he's looking at it and everything. I just, like, asked the bartender, what do you recommend?
Right.
And, you know, right away, he's like, boom, this, and the guy was like, I'll take one of those too. you know?
Okay,
so
first date, cool, that's what you order. What if the date is going bad? You're like, whoo, I'm here, but I still got food to eat. This date is horrible. I just need to get through this. What do you order? Do you order something different, or are you just like, just give me like 3 more signature cocktails? Because I'll typically like
change it up.
I'll typically either like take a few more if the cocktail's like really good. Because I usually try to get a cocktail with like tequila or mezcal in it.
Yeah.
Because I like a lighter. Something.
Tequila's light for you.
But tequila but I mean like I don't feel like it's heavy on my stomach. That's kind of what I mean. And so. But I'll just kind of start pounding them, or I'll literally like if I'm doing shots on a date, that date is probably not going well because I'm like I don't want to be here, I don't want to remember this.
I can't do that because I don't like to like lose control, and so I'm very calculated about things. But actually, a first date one time, it started very late. Okay, first of all, and
was he late?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was late. And he, like, texted me that he was going to be, like, 20, 30 minutes late.
Oh, no.
And then all of a sudden it was like, order a glass or order some wine on me, right? And I was like...
First of all, I'm going to order on you because what if you don't show up?
Well, it was just funny because I think I texted a friend, right? And I was like, isn't the whole date on him? And I was just, like, so mean about that. But then, so... He came late, so I didn't just order a glass of wine. I ordered a bottle of wine.
Okay.
And I was like, whatever. So this is what we're doing now, you know. It was just like, order some wine on me. And I was like, well, and my friend was like, you ordered a bottle or a glass? I was like, yeah. Hello, he was 20 to 30 minutes late.
Right.
I'm like, I had to wait there longer.
Whole bottle.
Yeah. We're getting a bottle.
Especially if I'm like sitting there by
myself. Very nice restaurant.
Also, if I'm sitting there by myself, I'm drinking that wine a lot faster than if I'm like talking and... All right, so what about if you are going to like a corporate event, like something for work? Maybe you're going to something like the opera, right? Like when you're on the board, what would you drink?
Sometimes I don't drink at those things.
Fair.
It depends. Like, it depends on the company it is and everything, but sometimes just a glass of wine then. Right. And a lot of times I'll go white wine for fear of... I like to use my hands a lot, and for fear of spilling red anywhere.
Right, teeth too.
Yeah, I mean, I was at an event the other week.
Okay, you must have had an experience with this.
I did. I had an event the other week, and I was like, I couldn't believe. Thank goodness I had finished my drink, but I was talking, and these are with like some I won't say where, kind of thing, board members and really high things. And all of a sudden I'm talking and I threw my hand like this and I totally karate chopped like somebody else's drink and it fell on the ground and I was like, oh my goodness. Like luckily he had finished it, but I was really embarrassed. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Because this was someone's private residence too. So that was really tricky.
See,
but
I'm
I'm
really bad in those scenarios because I just start laughing because I like don't know what else to do.
I was so embarrassed because I was just did this and he's like, it's okay. I've karate chopped others.
See, this would have been me. I would have been like,
oh my goodness.
I can't keep it together. Okay. Yeah. On the last one, what about when you are feeling like a badass bitch? You're like, I'm going out, I look really good, I feel really good, I'm having a great night. What are you ordering?
Wow, I feel like I don't switch it up as much as I should. No,
you might, but you probably just don't actively think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say then it is like
bourbon.
I would say it's my bourbon drink then.
I love that though.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. I like tequila. It's just kind of my nemesis in a way, because I can be like, oh, I'm feeling great. And then all of a sudden I'm not feeling so great, kind of thing. Really fast. It turns really fast on me. I like a lot of people.
Right.
So,
same. It's like 1, 2, 3 floor, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's
definitely.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm very
more
careful
so like
with
1,
that.
2 floor. You don't even really need to give me a 3 or 4, but
It was like, but yeah, I would definitely say any of my bourbon drinks.
Okay, cool. So you're drinking bourbon. You feel really good. So this kind of brings us to what we talk about next, because this is also really important to me, and you're gonna understand once we do it. So you're out drinking bourbon. You're like, okay, cool. I feel like a bad bitch. I look like a bad bitch. What are you wearing? So like you have one of those moments where you're like, I feel like a bad bitch. Like what is like your go-to outfit for that? You're like, I want to go out. I want to like look really badass. Like for me, right?
Right.
If I'm going out, like, I love color.
Oh, yeah.
So like a lot of people have told me like I wear all black, which is like totally cool because I'm a big like monochrome fan.
Right.
But not black. I'll do like an all red outfit.
Yeah.
I love like an all blue. I'll do like a red blazer, red pants, or I'll do like one of my favorite outfits that I have is like this blue turtleneck dress with like a blue faux fur coat over it. And then like white shoes or like a white bag, but pretty much monochrome. So that's like my go-to, like I am a bad bitch. Or like in the summer when I'm actually tan and like not the same color as this. Like we are the same.
So you blend in.
Right. I like to do like all nude. So what is like your like go-to, like I feel really good, like this is what I'm wearing. Like heels, a dress, like,
I love dresses. I really do. So I definitely would go with dresses. I love, again, red power color and everything. So I definitely would probably be in something red or something vibrant that way. I wear a lot of black, I feel like, as it is. And for, when you're in music stuff or anything like that, which is great. Like, I mean, if I were just going out for a more casual one, it'd be like, I don't know, maybe it would involve a little bit of black stuff with it, but honestly, I would gravitate more towards red dress, something that like stands out a little bit, maybe, or a bright blue dress or something like that, kind of like that shows like, boom, here I am, kind of idea.
And so this is I don't really know how to say this the best way, but in the music industry and in this music world that you're kind of in, because I feel like the demographic that you're in is a little bit older, right?
Yeah, that come to it, yes. I'm trying to expand it to
right. But the reason I'm kind of bringing that up is I feel like the way women dress in that world is very different. So
definitely,
where do you pull your inspiration from? Because I feel like you're still pretty fashionable. Like I've seen some of the stuff you've worn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty generic today.
But it's still color, right?
But I mean, if you told me, I would have done something different.
I've seen you do some pretty cool outfits, like some sequins. So like, where do you pull some of that inspiration from?
Well, I've always loved different types of fashion stuff too, as well. Again, like I feel like I'm very underdressed and very generic today, but I would definitely say it's not from the crowd that's there, it's from the crowd I kind of want to be there too as well. And sometimes you have to stand
I love that.
And sometimes you have to stand out a little bit too. I love shoes. Like love shoes, okay?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're wearing, or you have to wear all black or something like that, you can make it a little fun statement like on the shoes.
Yeah.
A little bit different. So I like that part of it. I mean, even if I wanted to wear, just all black for something or whatever like that, I'll throw something fun in the shoes or something like that. I would say also my sister it's always been very fashionable and ahead of the trend. She's older than I am. And she, kind of picked up some of that from her coming through all the years and everything.
Right.
And because of that, I feel like she's sometimes always been a little bit ahead of some things.
Okay.
And which is really fun. And so I'd kind of incorporate that in. Obviously, know your audience.
Right.
When it is. So
Agreed.
You can't be like, hello, everywhere when you're talking to certain people or anything like that.
Me, but...
Right. I mean, so I'll try. I find ways to be fashionable with
that do that because I can't.
Still not like, being full on everywhere, but then you can spice it up in other.
I really like that part that you said where you were like, I kind of dress for the way I want other people to show up, like the demographic that I want to be there.
Definitely.
I think that's really cool. I don't think that's an answer that I would have expected, and I don't think that's an answer that I saw coming. So I think that's really cool.
And I think it's great to stand out a little bit too as
right.
well. I get kind of tired when it's the same. You see or women maybe even connecting who are trying to fit in with men or something like that, because they feel like they have to be more conservatively dressed or something. I'm not saying don't be all out there or anything like that. I dress to your personality.
Okay.
Dress to what you feel comfortable in all the way through. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I like to do that. And I like to mix it up here and there too as well. I love animal prints. I love them. Good neutral.
Really
good neutral. So throwing something fun in there too as well.
Okay.
All the way through. I don't know. Yeah, but dressing to what I feel would be a good draw for others.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about standing out, right? Mm-hmm. So you talked about how you want to kind of come in, make an entrance, stand out a little bit. Obviously not too much. So
but take up space.
Right.
Walk into a room and take up space.
I love it. So that kind of brings me to the next thing that we talk about and we talk about on this episode. So I like to give back. I like to kind of feel like I'm inspiring people and not even feel like it, but just hope that the things that I'm doing and the energy that I'm putting out into the world is inspiring people. So when you're talking about standing out, how do you feel like you're standing out from not even other women, but just other people? And how do you feel like you're kind of making your foot in Chicago and kind of inspiring whoever it may be? How do you feel like you're making an impact on this world or making an impact in Chicago itself, right? Yeah. What do you feel like you're doing? I mean, I feel like I already have an answer for you, but maybe your answer is different than mine. So
I'd be curious to hear yours actually too as well. It's funny. I wrestled with that a little bit throughout many years actually, because I always feel like I can do more,
And that's actually kind of why I started this show too. And the reason I exclusively wanted to do women is because I feel like women take on so much, and we as women we take on so many things and we multitask and we do all these things, and they're always what else can I do?
Right. Exactly.
So I think it's funny because almost every woman that's answered this question has kind of been well, I don't really feel like I'm doing enough. So I think it's interesting that you started with that.
So several years ago, I also taught too as well, among the many things I've done.
Right.
So I think that impact of having on younger generations, whether it just be in music or how to conduct yourself essentially as a being, as a great human being in the society and stuff too as well, and showing that part of it, but showing too that it's like this, I'm seeing this here, and I've seen that many years and stuff too as well, years ago, and it's how to stand out, teaching other younger ones how to stand out and be comfortable with where they are too as well, and not to be just walked over or anything like that too as well.
Right.
But also how to be, like I said, good work ethic and everything else that comes along with it, to not just be okay, don't worry, stand out, but the world doesn't always just revolve around you.
Right.
So you need to figure out how to work your way into everything. And I hope to do like even more so, I've showed that, and I hope to continue to show that too as well, of how to bring others in, or how to kind of lead with that part of it. And I've always considered myself a leader, and of course I gravitated toward jobs that are more leading
I don't know.
Of it.
Like
you're like, they don't have any.
I don't know. I don't really know where you have your hands for conducting,
okay.
but
they're all over the place sometimes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's idea that bringing. I like to bring the best out of other people.
Okay.
And together. And that's how I hope to make my impact of things. And I think whether it be in the jobs I'm doing, or whatever else I'm volunteering for, when it happens to be, it's getting people together and bringing the best out of them so they're comfortable too. I don't know. Does that really answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the reason when I ask this and I try to make it a little bit broader instead of just saying like what is your impact, but also maybe like how you're inspiring, is because I think like some of the people I've had on this show, I know them, and so I kind of have an idea of what I'm gonna say, and then when they start to answer, they kind of take it a different way, but along the lines of what I'm thinking also. So I think it's interesting to see it from somebody else's perspective. So we talked about this a little bit, like when, Andrew was doing his B-roll there, we were kind of talking about like what your day looks like. So walk me through like a short day versus a long day for you. So like,
oh my gosh.
I know your days are all over the place. You're like, I dog walk and I dog sit and I house sit.
It just depends on everything.
Right.
It depends
but
on
like, let's just take like recent history, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe your last 2 or 3 months. Walk me through like quickly, like what a short day looks like versus like what a really long day looks like for you. And you can even talk about the stuff you're doing this weekend as like a long day, but whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, a long day, I would say, from recent experience too, as well, has been if I'm on set for something, you can, everyone, not to burst the bubble on it all, but everyone thinks it's like so glamorous all the time. But the reality is I had a shoot one time that I went to the audition for on Monday. I then had to drive to like another city to go on Tuesday. Didn't find out until 10:35 on Tuesday night from the casting director that I was cast for this. I had to be back down in Cincinnati on Wednesday evening.
Okay.
And then Thursday morning, like the shoot started at 7 a.m. And they were supposed to have a fitting the day before, but they decided not to, just do it all at once. So it was like you're on set from like 7 until who knows when it ended.
Yeah.
And then again on Friday from 7 a.m. I mean, when I'm saying on set, like ready to go, boom. So you come in and they do everything for you, but I'm saying they have to be ready to go for it. And then it's a long day until whenever production ends, because productions never have an end time. They just kind of keep going. So those can be like, that was a long week essentially, because it's so last minute with those things that it's kind of nerve-wracking, which makes it an even longer week.
Yep.
Because you don't know what your schedule is.
Stress and like
you don't know what your schedule is.
Right. It really makes things longer.
Or if you like have to fly out for something and you're catching the 6 a.m. flight, well, guess what? You're up at 3 something in the morning going out to go do that.
Yeah.
And then you go do your shoot and you're like back that night at midnight. And by the time, so those can be long days with it.
So what about a shorter day? What's a shorter day look like for you? You're like, what, this day is going to be a little easier.
Sit on the computer, some emails, I don't know. I mean, that sounds so... Or a shorter days, like studying, honestly, sometimes I'll study music too as well. I'm constantly keeping up on rep, no matter what I'm doing in my life and whatever I'm busy with, whether it's just like trying to get by in some different things or even what it's going to be working for Jeopardy. I mean, I'll still have those moments where I'm just like, I'm always constantly doing a little bit of, I call score study and everything, just to kind of keep up with things, and to keep yourself fresh on everything. So I will still do that. So a shorter day would be like when I don't have a lot of other stuff going on and it's time for myself to continue to grow.
And would you say, and you know, there's really no right answer to this, but would you say that you like have it all figured out, or you're still kind of trying to balance it?
I'm still kind of
okay.
have it all figured out.
Right.
Have it all figured out. First of all,
look,
one, I want to meet that person.
There are some women that I have met that I'm
like, no, yeah, no, I don't have it all figured out because obviously my background has taken several different twists and turns, and the future is going to take a few more twists and turns.
Okay.
And things fall into your lap that you don't expect them to, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, you're doing this instead, you know? So it's like, like you said, I'll be going out to LA for this other position, but it's also in my music world. They're like, oh, there's a lot of studio conducting out there, and I have a lot of contacts through that. So they're like, would you know, do some of these things? So I know it's just always going to be busy, but I like not just keeping busy, but not to keep busy to keep busy, but to keep like evolving.
Okay.
You know?
So the reason I asked that, and the reason I really like to bring it up, and this actually brings us towards the end of the show, which I know you're like very excited about. I
can talk forever.
I know.
You know it, right?
Look,
I'm Italian. I can talk on forever.
If there is anything, Mo is not here, bless his heart, but if there's anything he would tell you is that I talk too damn much, and he really tries to get me off the phone sometimes. He's like, yeah, okay, because I like I start going on these tangents, and he's like, we literally weren't talking about that. Which I kind of just did now. I literally just went off on a tangent. But anyways, so the reason I like to bring that up and I like to ask is because part of the reason that we do this and why I talk to women and get their perspective is that I like other women that are watching this or tuning in or watching you, or, you know, you share this and somebody sees it, is that as women, like, we do so many things, but it's okay to be in a place where you don't have it all figured out, and like you're evolving, or you're constantly evolving, or maybe you're in a state where like you're okay now, but then it's like, okay, like how do I get to that next step?
Well, and it's not even just that too. Sometimes, and especially in the industries, I should say, I'm in, if you want to talk work-wise, there's a lot of ebb and flow, like anything, right? But I mean, there are some down moments where you still have to like smile and like think that it's going to get better, and it does, but it can be very tricky, and you have to, I think we're all in different situations like that, wherever we are with it, and it's having that, what's helped me through any of those times is having a great support system of friends, female and male friends and everything, and family like crazy, has been super supportive, thankfully. I've had that, thankfully. So it's just like finding that network that can keep you going through the lows and the really highs, you know, because through it all. So whether you have it figured out or not, or think you do, and then it completely changes. It's having, you know, maybe it's just one or two people, maybe it's a group of people, whatever it happens to be, to kind of fall back on, and so to help you figure it out. So
that you kind of answered my last question, which was kind of like where you're at now. So let's end this show. If somebody's watching this, you're like, you know, maybe somebody watched this and they're like, yo, I think Laura's really cool, or I really like what she's doing. Give me like one piece of advice, and not this like BS, like, you know, like Hallmark card piece of advice, like something that you're like, you know what, this has really helped me through it. What would you say?
What do you mean exactly? Helped me through
anything? I don't care. Or just in general, like one piece of advice that you're like, you know, this is what I live by, or this is like what my mantra, I don't know, whatever. It could be whatever.
Ooh, okay.
But maybe just like one random piece of advice that you're like, you know what, like you're watching this, like this is what I would tell you. Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no. It's,
you know, we could just like cue the Jeopardy song if you want
some time. Like, oh my gosh, I have to think about this. No. I would say, I don't know if this is one piece of advice I get. I know it sounds weird, and this may sound cliche. I don't know, but it's like literally to keep going.
Right, there we go.
I don't mean that's not trying to make it Hallmarky or anything.
No, you're good.
But it's really like just keep going. That's what's gotten me through a lot of things, and to, like I said, good times, bad times, everything, like just keep going, you know. And I remember years ago, to bring up a card, I had a mentor years ago. I was in a little bit of a rough place and everything, and she got me this card that says, when you're going through hell, just keep going, kind of thing. Right. So it's not even just like going through hell, but it's like when you're whatever you're doing, just keep going and keep like I said, just keep working your way and evolving everything through. So
perfect.
I would say that would be mine.
Yeah, no, and that's perfect. It's funny because this morning,
go forward.
You know, I've been having like a really rough week, and so that actually speaks to this meme that I saw this morning, and you know, paraphrasing here, but it basically said like women are such strong people because they'll be in their car like crying, listening to a song, and then the second they step out of the car, they're showing that like brave, smiling face, makeup done, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, I'm a fucking crier. Like I cry oh man, I am an emotional wreck. I cry at like everything. So I'll be in the car and I'll hear a song and I'll be like, ooh. So I always have concealer with me in case I have mascara on, because I gotta be like, you know, touch that up real quick before I go in somewhere. So I think that's the perfect ending, right? It's funny because I heard that meme, something similar along the lines today.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being on Chicago, and it was so nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.